Hello, my name is Artsy, sister, and we're reading Saturnastra Loki. This is Chapter 7, Part 1, What Lies Behind Closed Doors. So through the mess was a group of 14-year-old youth, and they were of the age where people consider the people from the region consider youth that age to be adults. And in this era, when children were proven incompetent, they gave full citizenship rights, and they could own property and decide their own fate or whatever. And the captain of the guard said to Loki's group, "Halt! We're already not moving," remarked Loki. "Don't be smart with me," retorted one of the guards. And based on the pitch, it was impossible to tell what the gender of the 14-year-old youth hiding behind their custom-made steel armor. Peeping outside, Ingrid yelled at Loki. "Comfort yourself, Loki." "Whatever," said Loki, pouting. And the captain looked at his subordinate beneath his helmet in his mouth, and when he said to Loki, "Why are you here? Why do you sing?" "They do not pay me to sing. Not answer the question or be off with you," insisted the captain. Getting out of the carriage, Ingrid said, "We are here for leisure. We are going to stay for a couple of weeks at the most, depending on the hospitality. If you're looking for hospitality, then look no further. There is none to be had here, or anywhere else as of late," said the captain sternly. Ingrid was silent as her forehead furrowed in quiet contemplation, and the captain observed her stoic disposition, and one of his soldiers whispered something to the captain, who then nodded and asked, "Are any of your friends or relatives of Marduk?" "I am his sibling," answered Loki. "Sibling, not a brother or a sister," asked the guard. "What's wrong with saying sibling?" inquired Loki. "It's a tad odd. Practically everyone I've ever spoken to said brother or sister, and even the people who legally change their gender. And truly, your phrasing is quite bizarre," commented the captain. "I will speak as I so desire." "You brat," snapped Loki, folding his arm. Was that supposed to be an insult?" asked the guard. Can't say I ever said that one before," said the captain. "Nobles be nobles, forever butchering the common language. Fine, you may go within, but first you must pay sanction for your little execration," said the captain proudly. I don't pay the fine, but touche nonetheless," said Loki. "Carry on then, and do not stop by, but do stop at another time to humor us," said the captain. "I made no promises, but I will see you if I happen to pass by the wall," said Loki, bowing. And after this exchange, Loki and his party were able to enter the citadel, and the town surrounding the citadel had many small winding roads, and many of the apartments and houses were in the process of getting demolished to make way for newer modernized buildings. And Marduk's brother Leo had one day done an exhaustive rounds of all of the homes, and he noticed an increasing number of people acting odd, and slow growth in children, and unexplained deaths, and the occasional raving madman running the street. And fearing the onset of a plague, he had all the clunky little shacks torn down, and he remade the homes up to better standard. And unlike his grandmother, the actual ruler of the citadel, Loki cared about what his city looked like. This had triggered the first of many waves of exiles from the city, and in the time of Berserker, after tearing down the first home, Leo found what was causing the malady. It was the forbidden pliable metal known as lead. This had triggered the first of many waves of exiles from the citadel, and in the times of Berserker, using this metal on purpose was grounds for public execution, and the perpetrators were made to eat liquid lead, and it was a harsh punishment, but it saved lives. And neither Marduk nor Leo were fans of those types of executions, so exposure seemed to Leo as a more fitting punishment. And aside from new construction projects, Leo was building a public garden, and he was working on a novel concept alien to those outside the rights of the circus. And Loki found these gardens in the front homes, and they were staining. And the hotel and inn business had plummeted. Now the travelers could only seek shelter in private homes that had signs that read "Travelers Welcome," and it was so bad at times that people had to seek shelter in the temple. And walking with purpose, Loki came towards a small single-floor manor with 3 open rooms. And the manor was owned by a petit bourgeois named Soren Kulak. And he supplemented his ever-stagnating work as a notary by renting out his room, and he had only 2 children, which was unusual for a man of his time. An accountant at heart, he had surmised that his income level could never afford him more than 2 children. And having lost most of his brothers due to early poverty, could have resolved never to eat again the bitter bread of charity. And Loki rang the bell of the modest but well-kept manor, and he was greeted by Soren's oldest daughter, Ortilia, who was acting as a maid, and after a short exchange of words, Kula rented the 4 rooms for Loki, and he paid double for one of the rooms belonging to Lydia, the youngest daughter, who was out selling flowers at the moment, and she usually sold whatever flower bloomed in the garden to make some extra cash. And while they were settled in, Loki went down to smell the dinner, but did not eat it, and a little too visited the dining table, making their human host most uncomfortable. And like Loki, she did not eat since she was still full from her earlier meal. And there was an uncomfortable silence, and Red broke the silence by saying, "You certainly know your way around here," said Loki. "Have you ever visited Avalon?" Loki was stunned for a moment, and then he said, "The short answer is yes." Time?
8 minutes, 30 seconds.
This is certainly a small town, and I know everyone, and I have seen every newcomer at least once, and I don't think I have ever seen you, said Ladia, age 9. Ladia, comport yourself, snapped the older sister, Ortelia, age 16, and says her mother had abandoned them when, at the age of 2, she had taken upon herself to be a mother to her younger sister. Protested Ladia. "It's fine, let her say as she will," said Loki. Before her sister could protest, Ladia said, "You know what I think? I think you're lying or something. I will remember seeing a blue guy before." "How was stood? Bravo," said Loki happily. "Little Ladia's right. I had never been here in person, though my brother has been here before, and he's described this place and its people in great detail. Therefore..." "Ah, I see," said Ladia, still unconvinced. The silence fell upon the table again, and the father Thorin soaked his bread with milk, covering his mouth with his hand to mask his yawn. And this time it was Ingrid who decided to attend small talk. "There is certainly a lot of demons in town," blurted out Ingrid without realizing that most humans could not perceive demons. "There's a lot of demons in this town." but humans can't see demons? You guys have a lot of demons. Did you know you have a lot of demons? A lot of demons in this town. Why is that? Time, bro?
7 minutes.
Raising her voice, Ladia said to her, "I told you, but you did not believe me." Not paying attention to the conversation, Soren asked, "Wait, are there really demons in town? What are they doing here? What do they want? What do you see them do?" "Nothing out of the ordinary, which is a bit boring. I was scared at first, but they are pretty well behaved for the most part. When they do talk to you, it's mostly to give you bad advices," explained Ladia. "Since when have you seen them?" asked Ortelia. "Since I was a wee child, and they become more numerous when my Duke is in town," said Ladia. "So that is why they call him the Demon King," said Thorin ominously. They, who is they? The gossiping courtesans, the scullery maids, the disgruntled soldiers who did not get to ranks at the capitals. Demons have always lurked among mankind, and as far as I am concerned, the most dangerous demon is the one you cannot perceive, the demon you cannot recognize for what it is. Many good men have been swayed by their silver tongues to live a life of malice, but there comes a time when you have to take responsibility for your own actions instead of blaming it on demons," said Loki. The group was silent once again, and only the occasional masticating of bread and chewing, and Ladia's infantile sipping of the soup could be heard. This time Alida said, Must it fall upon me to break the ice, as my sister calls it? It is preferable not to force it. There is no law that states that we must all enjoy each other's company," retorted Loki sternly. Changing the subject, Alida said, "I never quite understood why soldiers always destroy whatever area they take over. It makes more sense to leave the city intact. Small man has small ambitions, and the current army system doesn't allow a soldier much benefit for leaving a city alone. In most standing armies, soldiers must supply their own weapons and armor, and whatever meager salary they can scrape is not enough to warrant so much abuse. And as such, plundering a city is a quick way for putting food on their family's table," explained Loki. "What is it like being a soldier?" asked Lydia. "What is it like being a little flower girl?" asked Loki. "It is fun taking care of the plants and making bouquets, but it becomes a chore when I have to try to sell them. people can be so mean and cheap, explained Ladia. Well, there you have it, said Loki. Like she basically described what it's like being a soldier. People are mean and cheap. Time?
4 minutes.
I don't have it, nor do I understand how both just compare, said Ladia. It is a weak comparison, said Red. You do kill people. At least no one dies in a flower girl business. Not necessarily, said Ortelia casually. After this note, the communal dinner ended, and Ingrid jumped into the bed glad to be sleeping, surrounded by pillows after being on the road for so long. And her happiness was short-lived for she soon became crippled by her chronic bouts of melancholic insomnia. And she did as she did every night, sitting and sighing while staring at the moon, waiting for a miracle of a peaceful slumber. And Red too was not sleepy. He wanted to explore the town, but he had chosen to stay indoors and insert the streets from the safety of his bedroom. And meanwhile, Loki was explaining to the Kula family what sort of service his monthly crew expected. And when he concluded his thought, Loki went to the kitchen and ate a hearty meal of leftover with fresh goat milk. And while he gorged himself, Alida slithered into the kitchen and smiling wildly, she said, "Aha, so you do eat." "When have I ever given you the impression that I do not eat?" asked Loki, raising an eyebrow. Alida was silent for a bit while she watched Loki gorge himself, and when he concluded his quick meal, Alida asked, "Seeing as though you've been in town before, why not show me around? You're a big girl. You can find the place out for yourself, so let's go," said Loki, opening the door for her. "Wait, what?" asked Alida, confused as she headed out. She finally understood what he meant, and when he closed the door behind him and offered her his hand, it was pointless. Like he opened the door for her and he offered her his hand, but she's a snake lady, she has no hands, so it was just a meaningless gesture. It was a pointed mechanical gesture that served no purpose, and she nodded, and the young couple made their way through the gardens and into the damp cobblestones on the street. And the stones in the streets amused and bemused her. And noticing what she was staring at, Loki said, "It's to warn pedestrians of passing carriages." "Ah," retorted Alida before moving aside as she heard a carriage speeding past her, and behind the carriage ran 2 horsemen yelling, "Stop!" And for a couple of blocks, Alida jabbered on about her time in the circus, and Loki knew plenty of circuses, and a repetition of what he already knew drawn on his bored senses. Eventually, Alida realized that Loki was not interested based on his monosyllabic responses, and her following gambit for getting Loki to talk did not prove much effective either. Time?
2 minutes.
"What gods do you worship?" she asked. "That's my own business," said Loki. Do you know which deity I worship?" asked Alida, insisting. "Not that it is any of my business, but I guess you show an affinity towards Heek," said Loki, laughing. Parted Alida. Changing subjects again, she started saying, "So, about the political climate, now that Bersamen is dead." "Stop it. Just stop. I'm not in the mood to talk about politics or religion or about my hopes and my dreams. And as I said before, such matters are my own business, and it would not benefit me to unburden myself with such triviality. And if you desire to water away the silence, then please do whistle or something a little less predictable," said Loki. "You're mean," yelled Alida, skittering away. And Loki got up to her, and then he said, "Come on. There's no need to get upset by such trivial things, and if it would make you smile, I would indulge you on a little triviality. Political-wise, I am partial to sortition, with a slight hint of strawberry anarchy. As for gods, I still can't tell you because it is against my religion, so there you have it. For the moment, I hope this unpleasant conversation ends, and last night I dreamed I was eating a cookie. But then when I took a bite out of it, it started bleeding, and it was quite the unpleasant experience. And to answer your true question, the one you left unspoken, my name means love, not ortango." "I don't care, just leave me alone," said Alida, brushing past Loki. So yeah, like Loki's name is loop or tango. Alright, we're done. Bye bye.